All right, friends, it's Mr. Ben. Happy Friday. I hope you already watched the information, the video on how to get to your work today. Um, if you're back in this slideshow, you're going to notice that there is a new slide. You now have 3 slides. Um, so great job for getting here. Um, I want to start this lesson today off by saying what I'm asking you to do is very tricky. If you get upset, if you're unsure what you should be doing, um, take a break. Contact one of the teachers. If you don't finish everything today, that's fine. We're going to work on this again next week. Okay. Um, you can always go to one of the Zoom meetings next week and we can help you out. I would love for any of you to stop into one of those Zoom meetings and get some help from me. Um, this is very tricky. What we're doing is pretty tricky. I've set myself up with a notebook or just a piece of paper and a pencil today because you're going to be switching between the slide you did on Wednesday and the one I've added for today. So if you haven't finished this slide, you're going to want to try to fill in your boxes with any of those little details, extra little details that you can think of about your small moment. Okay, that's going to be your first step. If you say, Mr. Ben, I'm done with that, I finished that on Wednesday, um, then you can go on to your third slide, and that's when we're taking all of this information and we're going to put it into a paragraph. So if we go to our next slide, our target, you can see I can turn my small moment details into a paragraph. And then today we want to take all of those extra details we remembered from our small moments and make a short 4 or 5 sentence story. So we will introduce our topic. We're going to add 2 to 3 details, and then we want to conclude our story with how we felt that day. Okay. So if we go back to our left, this is kind of where we see the instructions here. It's going to say, tell me when, who, and what. When, who, and what. What does that mean? And we click here to add our introduction sentence. So when, who, and what. Let's go back to our small moment expansion page. So we have when, who, and what. So this is why I told you to have a notebook, because we want to take all of those things, when, who, and what, and get it into one sentence. Now, so it doesn't become a run-on sentence, we might have to put in some linking words like because or and that help create longer sentences for us, okay? So if we're looking at when, uh, mine says 2 weeks ago on a Saturday afternoon. So that's how I'm going to start. So 2 weeks ago on a Saturday afternoon, who, Jamie and I, so it was me and Jamie. So I'd say Jamie and I went on a walk. So in my introduction box here, I want to take all of that information that I got from my last slide and put it into this. So I will say 2 weekends ago on Saturday afternoon, Jamie and I went for a walk um, by the ponds near our house. Lovely. All right, so once I have that typed in, Again, this is why I have my notebook. I wrote that down first. I created the sentence with those 3 different details. I made one big sentence that you can now see right here, but I used a notebook to write it down first so I could make sure it sounded okay. So then we have 1, 2, and 3 spaces where we can add more details. So where it says details, tell me all of the other details that you could remember from your small moment. Where, why, and any extra details about who, what, or when. So if we go back here, I have highlighted things I already said. I want to try to get in all of these different details, but I've already said this stuff, so I highlighted that in yellow so we know that I've already shared that with the reader. So we went for a walk a couple of weeks ago on a Saturday. Maybe why? So we needed to get out of our house because we were bored. So we need to get that to our next text box. So we can write that in there. We could say the 2 of us wanted to get out of the house because we were bored. All right, we already have 2 sentences, okay? All right, now that we have that second sentence, excuse me, in our slide, let's go back to the previous slide to see what else we have left to add. If I go back, we notice that there might be something about seeing other people, what we were doing. There's a lot of information here in where, so I might want to add some of that in my next detail to tell people exactly where we went. So I'm going to take all of this information and I want to take these 2 details and turn it into one sentence. So that might sound something like this. We started at our house and walked to Tiedemann's Pond. Then we walked through the woods over to Stricker's Pond. So I can write that down in my notebook and then I will type that in my next box here, okay? So let's get that typed in. We started our walk at our house and walked to Tiedemann's Pond and then we walked through the woods to Stricker's Pond. Okay, you see how I had, these are 2 different details that I had on this slide. Walking to Tiedemann's Pond and then walking to Stricker's Pond. Instead of making those 2 sentences, I made it one long sentence by connecting them with the word and, okay? So that's one way we can take separate details and then connect them. We could add that word and to give the reader more information, okay? All right, let's look back at our expansion page to see what else we have. We're getting a lot of stuff in there. Remember, yellow means we've already put it in our paragraph, and now we only have a few things left. So something I might want to add is that we saw a lot of people out that day because it was really nice. So if we go back to our other page, I'm going to add that into the second detail just as an extra detail, okay? Just say there was There was lots of people outside because it was a sunny day. All right. All right, so we got that second detail done. I'm going to try to finish this up quick so you can see what the end product looks like. Got to go back. Remember, we're not doing the how in the details. That is going to be our conclusion. So we only have two things left. I want to talk about looking for animals near a pond and in the woods, and that we found a muskrat and took a picture. So go to our third detail and say, we were looking for animals on our walk and saw a muskrat, and we stopped and took a picture. Perfect. Okay, so now that we have all of the details in there, look, I turned all of mine yellow. You do not have to do the yellow part. That's just to help me remember. I've already mentioned those in my paragraph. So the last thing we have is tell me how you felt about that small moment that day. So you might want to start it by saying, we had a really blank day. Okay. So I said it was really cool and we had fun. So I want to put that same thing in my conclusion. I'm going to say we had a really fun day and it was cool to see a muskrat by the pond. All right. Okay, folks. After that, if I look back, I have added all of the details that I came up with, those extra details, and I've gotten them into this paragraph form. Remember, this is a very tricky lesson. We will work on this for more than just today. Do the best you can. Your teachers are always here to help. Again, I put my example up in the corner, and if you click on the zoom, that's the little magnifying glass, you can see what I wrote. It's the same thing I just wrote for you in the lesson. Remember, we click the arrow and fit, and it goes back to normal. And then remember to click your arrow button. But there's an example for you to look at. I hope you're able to get the details into your text boxes. We can always work on the organization afterwards. Remember, if you're struggling, take a break, message a teacher, and we can always come back to this, all right? So good luck, friends. I know this was a long lesson. Do your best. I know your stories are going to be great, okay? Good luck, everyone.